Jerry, I got those flies today.
Should we put on two beads?
This is February 22nd, and we're going to do the Black Caddis invitation called a Black Mess, and later we're going to do a Vis-A-Dunn. So welcome.
Jerry, did you say we put on two beads?
And we've got a lot of people on tonight, and hopefully
Jerry,
we'll get some things done. Yes.
How many beads do we put on?
How many what?
Beads.
How many beads? Just one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know
many.
you got a whole bunch, but just one. But
Okay.
that's for the people that are like me, that are clumsy and will drop one. You know, I have no hope of getting these things on without dropping at least one. Let me get my glasses on so I can even see. Yeah, they're good beads.
Hey, Jerry, what size hook?
The size hook, I have a 17. A 102Y is my favorite, but a 16 or it would be better than, I think, than an 18. If you,
What style is it? I don't have any hooks in my kit.
a 100, Bob, would work fine.
Okay, let me go grab a couple.
Okay. A TMC 100 would work good. All right, that's what it looks like, Bob. Okay, the 102Y in 17, 17 is just kind of like the right size for this invitation of this Black Caddis, the right size, beautiful. But also this has a little wider gap hook. If you look at it, it looks like a bigger hook than it is. So that's why I picked that. And then the other half of it is it's a black hook. So it just has all three qualities that I want. And that was fortuitous. Well, I'm going to put a bead on here. And when watch the drop. There you go. I got it. First time. Is it better this way for you guys to follow, or that way?
No, the other way.
Either way,
There you
Yeah.
go.
us left-handers have to adapt anyway.
Okay. Well, when I think about it, what
We're
you're looking
just
at,
jealous of us, Scott.
Actually,
You're not looking at my view, you're
actually,
looking
that
at
way
the
is really good for left-handers.
yeah.
That looks
Yeah,
like what
it
Love
is.
Center sees, yeah.
I'm dyslexic. It don't matter to me.
Yeah,
So that black bead is going to be there, but I want to build up a little bit of a dam behind it so it doesn't run back, and it tends to do that. And this thread that I'm using really is hard to get started, so that way it doesn't run back and get in my way. So if you do that, put the bead on, build up a little stopper on it, because it's a craft bead, not a fishing bead, so they're not too tight. And let's see, Duke, did you get that whole schedule?
What, Jerry?
Okay, good. Then you know a little bit about what you need tonight. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I assumed you had it, but I'm glad we got that straightened out. It makes sense.
Appreciate it.
And Matt, you don't have it either, I'm sure. Unmute there, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't, but I'm fine. I'm not even all the way got all my stuff in my new house, so I'm watching.
Okay. All right. These are good for Black Caddis. That's the story. All right. And down at the end, the bend of the hook, you're going to find some crinkly Z-line in your kit, and you don't need much. And I really mean that. This is all I'm going to use. So you want to break that thing up, and it's sort of a gray. gray
I don't have
brown.
none of that.
And all I'm gonna do is take one wrap or two over it, and then I'm gonna peel back. And that's it. And that's too long and too much. There we go. This is, I'll bring this up so you can see. That's all the more I wanted to see out at the back. And if you've seen Gary LaFontaine's Sparkle Pupil Emerger, I mean, this is what this fly is based on. My whole idea when I did it was I stole from Gary, and I said, I don't like to tie that crazy bubble thing that he did. And the one time I saw him tie, I saw him do that, and I'd been tying salmon flies, and it was making bubble flies to look like eggs. And I said it was a bubble fly. Gary looked up and gave me a dirty look. He didn't like that. He was a very nice person, though. I really had respect for what that guy did. If you've ever read Caddis Flies, you'll know that he really knew what he was doing. So the next thing we're going to use is this green stuff, and it's Midge Diamond Braid Peacock. Okay. And that's going to be the underbody back in the abdomen. I'm going to lay it on top here and just cover it up, bring it up to what they call the 70% point, okay? Just a little bit left up here, opened up before, away from the eye, okay? And I'll wait, because I have a feeling that I'm ahead of people. But we're going to use this up here for some other things. So we're going to lay that out, leave it open. I'll let you guys catch up with me. And while you are, I'll tell you about Sunday's fishing adventure. We had a good time. Mark beat the pants off of me on catching fish, but
That was a good day out there.
we had a good day on the Little Grant and on the Green. And before the snow melt came, and actually there wasn't much snow to melt, but when it finally did come, because it was 51 out there, it muddied both streams up. And we moved from the Little Grant to the Big Green, and it wasn't muddy, so we fished that from about 3 o'clock till dark, and it was fun. We had a good many nice fish.
Yeah, but the Big Green started filling up on us too, Jerry.
Yeah,
Right at the end there.
Yeah, we lost the Big Green also.
All that topsoil went into the Gulf of Mexico.
We're trying to stop that.
We were on the Big Green, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
you know, Duke, it's something when you see that. I mean, they're farming all those hills and all those pastures, and if there's no green on it, that just
Well,
flushes
what-
away.
right now, what's happening is there are a lot of these little rivulets that got ice dams on them.
Yeah,
And at some point in the afternoon, they build up a bunch of water behind them. Some point in the afternoon, they go, and you're just SOL, nothing you can do. Although I have to say I don't know if you remember that big Easter melt about 10, 12 years ago when it killed everything in Jersey Valley with manure and stuff. But that was early March or early April maybe. Anyway, there was a lot of snow on the ground, and we when the streams that we were fishing got bad, we kind of took a flyer and went over to just downstream from one of the dams, one of the flood control dams. Maybe it was Rung Hollow or something. And darned if that didn't stay good for another 3 hours, 4 hours after everything else was blown out. So if you get that situation, look for one of those spots.
A good idea. So we have that ice, the diamond braid. I just wrapped it gently over, forward, tightly, and stopped it where my thread was hanging before and tied it off. So go ahead and do that. And you can trim your, we're done with it, so you can cut that, trim it off. Won't have to keep that piece. And you shouldn't have a mallard flank feather in there to look for after that when you're ready. Did any of you hear about the manure spill on Castle Rock Creek?
Recent?
Yes,
No.
yeah, that happened. I guess
Yeah.
at least
Oh my God.
I was hearing about it from the internet, and there was an article in the paper in Madison, but that I read. Said the dairy was pumping sewage, you know, and
Unbelievable.
one of the clamps failed, and it ran about a couple of miles down into Castle Rock. Apparently, it seemed like the lower end got it, but one of the retired wardens located it and saw it, and the dairy did report it, so they may or may not get fined as soon as
Huh.
you know, all under investigation as usual.
You know, a couple of years ago, the same thing happened with that bad actor guy up in the upper end, and he had been telling the DNR that his manure pit was filled up and he couldn't afford to
Yes.
pump it, and then a clamp got off sometime between 11 and 7, 11 at night and 7 in the morning, and the same warden, Chuck Horn, reported it, and you know, it killed everything in that way upper 2 miles of Castle Rock. And then by golly, they went after him and they got a fine against him, and then he declared bankruptcy again and went off to California.
Same dairy this time, Duke.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's depressing. So the bad actor sells his place to another bad actor.
Yeah.
What a deal.
Yep, I read in the Madison paper, it cost the DNR $50,000 to pump out his tank.
Yep.
for
And he
free.
stiffed him. And he stiffed him.
What
Well,
is
by
this?
golly, if he ever comes back here, is he going to be in trouble?
All right, if you have that done and you're waiting, take and cut a little sliver of this mallet. Let me put it in front of that and see if you can see. That's a little bit better. Take a few. Oh, there you go. Fibrils of the mallard flank feather and cut them out. And I like to get about 2. One's not enough, and this is 3 I just showed you, so I'm down to 2. We're going to put 2 of those, one on each side, and with the concave side next to the hook, and it's going to extend back beyond just a bit, back beyond the bend, I should say. But the hard part is getting it just right, so I'll leave it to you guys.
Concave in or concave out?
What's that? Art?
Concave in.
Concave in? All right.
Yeah.
I think.
You want it to flare out or flare in?
I want it to flare in
Flare in.
if we can. Not always possible. That one I just ruined. I'm gonna get another one. Yeah, this is the fun part of it tonight.
How long do we want it, Jerry?
I'll show you. I wanted to get it about to the end of those Zelon fibers that are sticking out the back. Okay. If you want to, you can make it any length you like, but
No, okay.
it's the trick here is you get it a little bit up and then lay it down. There it goes. And as soon as you do it, it flares. There we go. Okay. So I'm trying to keep it in. And I'm going to get another pair and put it on my side. And let's see how that goes. And this is not a super necessary thing to do. I don't think it's going to be noticed that much by the fish, but I kind of think it's kind of cool to have the little, and this represents the antenna. Kind of cool to have it in there. So you can put it in or leave it out if you find it too frustrating. It's not probably going to matter a whole lot. As you can see, mine are unruly to you.
Mine are
And
flared really
probably
bad too.
Looks like the soft tackle if it flares all over the place. That's fine.
Yeah, mine worked out.
You know,
So Jerry, have you ever seined up some of these when they were emerging?
I'm pulling these headphones. They're not working right.
Oh.
What's that?
Oh,
Have you ever seined up any of these emergers when they were coming up?
No, I never saw a caddisfly merger when it's coming up. I've seen the blue wing olives, but not the
Mhm.
caddis.
I know I've seined up the tan ones, you know, what is it, Brachycentrus, whatever it is, and they do have that nice antenna dragging back behind them. And the funny thing is, if you get them on your net, as an emerger, they'll give a little shake, and it's so quick that they open up the back and then they pop right out. It's not like a mayfly that opens gradually and then struggles out and its wings dry. When they come out of that shuck, they are poof, ready to fly off. Which, you know, it's a difference between the mayfly, the Baetis take and the caddis take. But I'm just kind of curious about what colors these black ones exhibit as they're on the way up. It seems like a lot of the ties are maybe an olive abdomen and a dark thorax. Just as like a general rule for caddis, that's kind of how they come out as adults. But I don't know what the emerging pupa looks like.
Well, when I came up with this idea of the diamond braid, I was trying to get, you know, Gary LaFontaine's idea of that air capture, and
Sure.
he built underneath. He built a color that was representative of the caddis. Well, I was trying to get this to give me the color, and in this case, the black caddis, I've seen them. They have that little bit of green in the abdomen. They're not solid black. And so that's why I picked this up using the sparkle to show through the next layer here, which is the CDC. And if you look at that CDC, I've clipped out the end of it and made a nice V there. It works better that way. So if you have your CDC ready, clip out that end like that, notch it. And you can use one or you can use two. I'm going to use one for you tonight. It's a little easier to handle. 2, I think, covers it pretty well. But if you're going to do it, take it, lay it on top and pull back. Pull back these fibers before you lay it on top. Make it a much longer feather sticking out the back than you would normally do it. And just let it sit there and lay over one turn of thread. And then look at it, back it and back it, or pull it down. So you're backing it off a little bit. And that way I want it to be kind of just a little short of those fibers that are sticking out the back. And taking a wrap, and I don't want to take that wrap forward. I want it to stay right back. Let's get something to point. I want it right in the front of where that diamond braid ends, okay? And this fiber, this feather that I had is pretty light. I'm going to throw another one on so you get a little bit better idea what it should be. It was pretty sparse. So I'm going to do it again, pull it back, lay it down, and then pull it forward, and then kind of try to get it to wrap around as much as you can. But the thread's always next to that. And I'm going to take the CDC and I'm going to wrap it right behind the bead, the rest of the feather. And then come back up in the same place. And we're going to cut the CDC right there and get just a little bit of more of a head to the front end of that, if I can. And tie it off right there. And,
Jerry, I'm clarifying, you're saying tying in the front of the CDC, trying to get it.
I'm tying the CDC in right in front of that green diamond braid. And then I'm going to take the CDC and wrap it forward from the green diamond braid to the bead. And then
Nasty.
Right, but what I'm asking is
tie it off there.
is that the same CDC that you tied in initially?
Yes.
Yeah, the same one.
Okay,
Same,
that's the same
thing.
feather does both. Okay, that's all I needed to
yeah,
know.
I didn't use any extra.
This is
And
stiff.
if I have a little extra sticking out here, I like it because it's going to look like legs, in my opinion. And I'm going to trim this second out a little bit. Make it look correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not really happy with that head tie yet, that I did, but we'll live with it. I'll show you. We'll do it again. I'll try to get a better one for you.
So is it like palmering the CDC up to the bead?
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Basically.
palmering. I don't really want to palmer it up there. I want to just pull those fibers down and just make a fuzzy head, you know, the beginning of the front of the caddis.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
If you can see, where's the look at that. That's what I'm trying to get to look like. Okay.
Mhm.
The bead and that, and then some legs coming out, but everything is pulled back.
That looks nice.
and it's
Like
going to be
that.
emerging.
Of course, I'm sure once it hits the water, it's just gonna mat up, but it looks cool now.
I don't know. I think it's going to flutter.
Well,
Yeah,
basically,
the CDC will, yeah.
underneath the water, they're usually underneath the water on this.
Subsurface probably.
You know, I could see tying this in these other colors too.
Oh, yeah.
Tan and brown.
Yes, I don't see any reason not to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice fly.
But you know, we get such a big black
Oh, I like
caddis
that.
emergence. I kind of started on that one first.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah, that's
if
when
we
you guys all
tie-
come up to, that's when you
if
guys
you
all come
tie-
up to live up here.
That's it. Black
Uh,
caddis.
deciding on something else in another color, Duke, would you stay with the same dark colored bead?
I think I'd go with a brown bead. Yeah, a dark brown.
Dark brown bead.
I still like the idea that caddis are generally darker on their front. I think it applies on the pupas as well as the adults, you know.
Yeah.
And we don't generally, when we tie on CDC and elk or an elk ear caddis, most people don't tie a darker thorax. But you know, you fish in some other parts of the world where there are a lot of caddis, and they wouldn't think of fishing a caddis that as a dry that it doesn't have a darker thorax than abdomen.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I like that. So if you remember the Gary LaFontaine's sparkle pupa, this thing's, the CDC is going to hold a little bit of air bubbles around it. I mean,
Yep.
that's the whole idea of it. So
Yep.
is Gary was looking for something to trap air and light. I've got the light and I got the CDC feather here to trap a little bit of air. And I just stole it from what his research was and what it looked like. I just did it a different way, I think was the plan. But
Mhm.
anyway, Duke will tell you these work, I hope.
Mhm. Yeah. I tonight I couldn't find my little black beads, so I tied these with green craft beads, but I think they'll work fine. Because then you get a little reflectivity in there too.
Yeah.
That's a nice fly, dear.
Thank you. We'll get it. We'll get them working here and do another one for you guys. While we catch up, I'll see if I can get the front end to look a little different than that one came out. I kind of clamped down on it too much. But the problem is the CDC. You just have to get with experience. You need to get just the right feather. Well, there went a bead. Launch. Oh, mission control. We launch. There we go. Now I'm going to put this together again, and when you guys can start do it whenever you're ready to. And the second one.
The thing, Jerry, have you run into many multiple caddis hatches at the same time in April and into May? Where you got both black caddis and tan ones on the water?
I'd say that again, Duke.
Have you run into many occasions where you have both the black caddis emerging and the tan caddis emerging at the same time?
Well, I haven't run into it yet, but I'm
Well,
sure it happened.
It's really fun. It's like being too rich or too thin or having too much sex, you know. In other words, a rare occasion, but really, what you do find is that there are certain fish that are only going to take one or the other, and so they start keying in on a particular the particular color of caddis. I had some guys out on Timber Coulee that came down from Eau Claire, and they were just learning about troutfish. And we got them, they're young guys in their 20s and stuff. And we got onto one of these pieces of water and it was just boiling with 2 different kinds of caddis. And they caught all the fish they could possibly catch. And then they started playing games and wanted fish at tan caddis and see if he could do better with that than the black caddis. And they'd have a beer in between caddises. And they had 3 guys taking turns and they were just laughing. And it was just, it was kind of one of those real formative things. I don't know if they'll fish 30 more years if they'll ever have it happen again.
Never.
I was gonna say, I'd like to have a day like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
Come on
you
up.
think it happens all the time and next thing you know, it doesn't.
Well, you just have to be ready. But
No, I
there-
mean, if it's, it's one of your first times out there, you just think, oh, this is easy. There's nothing to this.
sometime we should have a discussion about the curse of early success.
Yeah.
It's never been one of my problems. I've always had to fail and be redeemed or not.
I've got enough of that left. Killed it. Oh, man.
Yeah, we were up there Sunday. I had a bunch of them just rising right in front of me. It must have been some itty bitty midges. I
Mhm.
don't know what they were.
Did you ever get it decoded?
A what?
Did you get it decoded?
Nope.
You know,
But they were hitting what I had anyway, but
yeah.
they were, I don't know what they were awful small. But they
Well, I
were
guess
right
so.
in front of me.
Yeah. So,
Richard Jones, maybe?
What were you catching them on?
What was that? The Holy Grail.
Well, I don't know what that is, but okay.
That's like a beadhead one. One was working good, so I put another one on and it worked even better.
well. Did you see any of the early medium stoneflies, the 12 body,
I
14 wing
was-
drives?
I had a little black stone on and I didn't get nothing on it.
Yeah. It seems like a real sporadic.
Well, even that
emergence.
hatch in front of me, it must have lasted like 5 minutes and then it was over.
Oh.
And they wouldn't touch nothing but whatever that little thing was.
Welcome to the early season, right?
Yeah. But it was fun just to watch it.
I got a picture from a friend over in Michigan, southern Michigan. And he said, "What is this?" And he's got a picture of a stonefly on a fence post. And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's not a black caddis. What is that? I said, what size is that? He says it's a 10. And so I went and looked up in Ann Miller's book and it was an early brown stonefly. Then it's supposed to come in March. I've never seen one. I've never seen one of these, but it's a pretty big stonefly.
Wonder,
I'd love
it's
to
kind of like similar to the squallas.
Ann Miller's book, is it out? Is this the one for the Midwest flies? Or
Ann Miller? Yeah. Midwest Hatches or something like that.
It's come out, because when she gave her presentation, it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for her new book.
I was thinking about the one that's been out a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well, Bob, you're just going to have to come back.
We are. Coming back in May.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Is your leg working out with therapy, Bob?
It's getting a little bit better.
Good.
See what the physical therapy guy says on Thursday.
Always listen to your physical terrorist.
Yeah. And he is too, man. Does this hurt? Just a little. Give me about 5 minutes. It'll hurt more.
Yeah, here, let's bend it just a little more.
Yeah, you haven't screamed yet. Yeah. No blood on your, or sweat on your forehead.
No.
I had one when I was in the Air Force, and it was like a physical therapist drill sergeant.
You know, that dentist in Little Shop of Horrors was
Yeah.
kind of, I always thought,
Easy, watch it now, you're talking.
oh. No, no.
Stepping on my territory.
Yeah, I always thought of you as the gentle dentist who used Novocaine.
Yeah. Sometimes.
What was the guy's name in MASH? Painless?
Yeah. Right.
Painless, yeah.
Yeah, Steve Martin played the one in Little Shop of Horrors, and who was it? In the original one, Jack Nicholson was a patient who ended up with all his teeth pulled, and he was so happy.
Oh, yeah.
He had a masochistic patient and a sadistic dentist. I'm sure that never happened.
That's pain.
You know, the worst thing I ever thought I was ever doing, and it was really worked the best, was I walked up to I watched a guy walk up to a little kid with a loose tooth, had his pliers behind his back, and the front tooth is loose. And he said, well, let me look at that. And he whipped the pliers out and took the tooth out in 2 seconds. The kid never cried because he didn't know what happened so fast. And
Cool.
if you give a kid a shot, he's gonna cry and go crazy. This was the best trick I ever learned. You know, you could just walk up and do it, and they didn't hardly know that it happened. You know, it was so cool. And I thought, you know, when I first saw it happen, I thought that guy's really mean, but the kid didn't cry. It worked out.
Ernest Hemingway was a young reporter in the 20s, maybe right after 1920, and he was writing for the Toronto Star Monthly, and he wrote a story about if you didn't have any money in Toronto, you'd go to the dental school and get your dental work done free. But you had to understand that those were in training. You know, those were folks in training, and they you know, everything didn't always turn out just as it would have been with an experienced pro like Jerry. And but they were like how would you say it? They were standing by their chairs waiting for you to come in and sit down and get something done for free. And so you hardly felt like complaining, even no matter how much it. Yeah. Well, anyway, enough of that story. It was a great story, though. Oh, Jerry's.
Those of us that were in the Army can
It's like
relate.
buying a pair of shoes that doesn't fit, but heck, they only cost a couple bucks.
Okay, Jerry, you can tell lawyer jokes if you want.
Okay, no problem. No, I've been there and done that. I know that.
Well,
My
I think
first
Ward
patient-
probably remembers. Ward remembers. I used to fly him out in the field, right?
Yeah, well, no, we never saw a dentist. I cracked the tooth on it, the temporary.
That's what that K-bar is
We'll
for.
bring you in. We'll bring you in a couple, in a couple days like that. And then they sent me home 7 months later and said, well, you get it, go to the VA whenever you get home. They'll take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, I never had a problem there. As Hank did. Hank has a great story.
Done, Chris?
It's about pulling it out fast reminds me of the technique of getting a hook out of your hand or arm or something like that, you know?
Well, that fits in with that presentation that, somebody who was an angler and a retired nurse and somebody who'd maybe been injured in the field might be really perfect to do a a discussion for TU members and anglers about safety along the stream. I don't know if you know anybody that, might be interested in that, but I'll bet a lot of anglers would love to hear it.
I know they would.
Jerry, did you
Right,
look,
Vance?
Yeah.
you sent that thing out about the scientific angler. Did you see that deal in there with Jason Froon, who had the big hook in his mouth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Emergency room?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Are you guys following that blog?
Yes.
I am. Yeah, it's a good one.
Jason's doing a really nice job with that. He just did one on the hippie stomper. And he thinks
I just watched that.
it's the perfect driftless dry fly.
It sure is versatile.
It is, yeah.
I smell the contest.
Well, and you
This
know, the
one
guy,
I like the head on it better, a little bit better. So
Mhm.
I got
you
some.
know, a lot of the guides around here start fishing hippie stompers in March.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
Anything, it's a good indicator.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
John,
if you just,
Polly, what you're looking for, number 14,
Yeah, getting it ready.
getting it ready. John, maybe you're good at technical. My headphones are not working tonight. And when I plug them in, they usually just comes on and I don't, and the voice from the laptop shuts off. It's not happening tonight. You have any clue about what would be doing that?
Are those headphones the kind that need to charge up or anything?
No, they just plug in. They're just straight, that plug. They don't charge up.
Well, try again, putting the plug in, plug out a couple of times. That usually works for me, but
Well, okay, I've given that a shot.
okay.
It won't, it's not shutting off on the voice on the laptop. And the speak, which are not good, but that's why I got the headphones. So now I don't know what's up. And the up-down voice on it, that's not working.
No, what was it?
So how do you fish these things? You just let them dead drift under an indicator or just under the
Yeah.
surface or under a dry fly or what?
yeah,
Yes.
And a surface, subsurface.
Try it under dry fly. Yes. Subsurface, slightly subsurface.
Like a pupa.
Let your dry fly float downstream with this under it, and by that time it gets sunken, and when it turns and you can bring it back up, it works well. It can also finish it singly, put a small split shot in front of it and let it sink, and then do the same thing, bring it up from a depth. But they take it pretty quickly. Yeah, so you won't miss the hits. They really slam this little thing because it apparently should be moving. So that's the back end of that one is it hits hard. They hit hard rather. It's like they're afraid it's going to get away from them. I found so
Yeah,
the hits are nice.
those pupa, when they're on, they'll chase them down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
they do. So I'm going to get out the other Vis-A-Dunn, and I've got to get rid of this T-shirt and put another darker shirt on so you can see.
Jerry, what color thread for the next fly?
And,
Yeah. Light tan.
Light?
The yellow tan.
I'm going to put the shirt on backwards so you have no zipper to deal with, and that works. Okay. We got to cut down the resolution. I'll get there. Don't go away.
Jerry, you're gonna sit in on the Driftless Symposium tomorrow?
What's that?
The Driftless
Oh, yeah.
Symposium on tomorrow. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
First, day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be a little late tuning in. I got physical therapy in the morning, but the symposium after that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, since
I
it's,
would, I think Mark's going to be there. Anybody
Yeah,
else? signed up?
I'll be a little late too, probably. I don't know, probably around 10:30, 11, but I
Yeah.
got stuff to do, but yeah, I'll be on there.
well, since it's Zoom, you got to bring your own donuts.
Yeah.
I still have my
That's
cinnamon
the
roll
worst
from
part.
Fosdale's.
Yeah, that was the best part of the symposium, was those breaks. They had good donuts.
Yeah. I know whenever I got reviews, they were pretty equivocal, so I think the people were there for the donuts.
That's it. Nothing else. Donuts.
Jerry's bringing his own Kringle.
Oh.
We'll stop by.
Yeah, we found no, I don't know. Duke, have you ever gone through Stoughton and stopped at Fosdall's Bakery?
No,
Oh, boy.
really?
Right across,
Oh, my
right
God.
across from the post office, or
Really? I know where the post office is, but I haven't been in Stoughton for 20 years. Yeah. Fosdalls.
yep.
Yep.
We the car won't go past it.
It's
Brakes slam on.
like self-driven, huh?
And they make a mean Kringle, folks. They really do.
Yeah, I drove Sunday. Jerry's like, I usually don't go that way when I'm going up through the Little Grant or something. He goes, oh, can we go up through Stoughton so we can go to Boston? I was like, okay.
It's a great donut.
Yeah.
We have to
Well,
do that.
Our the place in Baroqua has rosettes every day of the year.
They have what?
Rosettes. Yeah. What are they? They're like a Norwegian doily with powdered sugar.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They're about an inch high, crispy.
Yeah.
You know, they're made to dunk. Of course, everything Norwegians make is made to dunk.
Looks like a giant snowflake.
Yeah. Yep. Every day of the year, every day they're open.
I would find that place, Mark.
Yeah.
Can't let that go by. All right, you guys still tying, or y'all waiting? Or Joe's tying? I see that.
Just finishing up my fifth one. Don't wait for me. Shoot.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go into the Vis-A-Dunn. I chose this as a PMD color, and that's usually you'd think I was a Western fly, but there is a hatch that happens on Mount Vernon Creek around Memorial Day during the daytime, and it's not to be missed. If you get through the weeds at that point, it's not too bad. So we're going to start out with this hook that I gave you, and I'm not happy with the hooks. They look good beforehand, but when they started tying on them, they tend to have a easy bend to them, so I don't think they're very tempered. I apologize for that. They look good, but they bend sideways, so be careful when you're working with it. They tend to bend. So if you wrap your thread down nice and evenly, holding that other piece of thread straight up, we're going to come down to the end at the bend, and then we're going to pile up a little pile of thread up here, make a little knob, and that's going to separate the tail fibers. Bring it forward, and can you see that little extra pile there? And let's see if I can bring this to the center more. How's that? Better. Okay. You should have a little piece of feather in their kit for these tail fibers. And take and peel off about 4 or 5. Switch hands, measure them out, lay it on top, and start wrapping over it right in front of that hump. That's a little short, so I'm going to bring them out. Yeah, I like that better. And you can take your finger on top of those fibers as you do this and hold it down, and it'll tend not to flare up to the sky too so much. Because when they do,
Want them to flare, or you don't want them to?
you want them kind of, I like them to be level with the hook. I don't like them sticking up too much above the hook. This is up, some of them up, some of them down here. But it helps it if you get them separate. Oh, can you see that? Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna bring that up a little brighter. That's it.
Oh, shucks.
Jerry, you're kind of 16?
Yeah, size
Okay.
16.
Okay.
Size 16. Sorry, I forget people are out there that don't have everything
Oh, that's okay. No big deal.
made for them. The next time I'm gonna do it with these paintbrush fibers, which are nice and stiff. They're Arbet, they're called, and cream. But a paintbrush works pretty well if you get the right colors. So going forward. And in that kit, you should have some nice Xenon. Again, crinkly, works well. This should be gray. We didn't have any gray, light gray, so I used this pink. I think it'll be just as visible. And I'm going to lay it out front, a little bit over the end of that eye of the hook, and just wrap over the top of it and come back. And then I'm going to come forward and lift the Xenon up and put a dam right in the front of it. And not on it, but in front of it to pile it up so that it sticks straight up.
Do we need to split that Xenon, Jerry, or take the whole thing?
I think you could depending on what you have there. I don't know what it looks like, but I took the whole thing on mine, but mine might have been skinnier than what you have. You kind of just have to
We'll try it.
judge, and say, this is enough or this isn't enough. That was what I had was pretty thin, but I don't know what came out every time in every package because it may not have been consistent. So anyway, I'm going to take that and go down over top and wind back. And wind back and wind back and come back to that original point. And hopefully we got a little bit of taper here. Now, if you watch the videos, those guys pile up a lot of thread on that video. And I'm of the belief community that you don't need so much thread underneath these things.
Less is greater, huh?
Pardon?
Less is more.
Oh, I wish I missed my earphone.
Is greater. Less is greater than more.
Yes, yes. Less is more. Bis man zero, right?
Zero.
And I hope I have still laid around here. Oh yeah, somewhere. I'll wait on you guys to catch up while I'm hunting what I need. Which is a feather. That was so nice. It's gone away.
Hey, Jerry, why'd you choose to use those gray? They look like duck feathers on the tails.
Pardon me?
Why'd you use those gray feathers? It looked like a duck feather for the tail, as opposed to stiff hackles, or you want to use the vibettes or whatever. The next one.
It called for a watery dun, and that was as close as I could find a watery dun color.
Okay.
It's not a duck feather, believe it or not, but it's watery dun.
But it's not a hackle feather though.
No, it's not a real good hackle feather. No. No, it isn't, but at the time we did this, it was all that was available. And I thought about if I sent these out, they would be lost in the package. You know, we couldn't really get that. You never find them, they never get lined up. So this way, you get the idea, but you didn't get a perfect thing. But this hackle feather will work, and I think you won't find it too much trouble.
You don't need the world's best hackle on this one.
No.
No.
So, you know, I'd like to see you have some nice hackle feathers there, or more or less, I favor these, and they can be handled a lot better, I think. They at least make the fly ride correctly on the surface once it falls. Better. Okay. And so I'm going to come in with my dubbing wax, put a little around the thread, pull this really thin. And I mean really thin.
Great, where to go?
Back.
Hello. I lost it.
And we're going to start wrapping. I'm going to start wrapping it forward, getting it a lot of wraps, making it look a little bit segmented. Pull up a little bit more dubbing. And stop a little bit short of the post, the wing post, and just wait on it now a minute.
Jerry, is there any clear benefits to using this or a compare-dun or a sparkle dun when you got a like a sulfur operation? Is there a sulfur hatch underway? Is there a reason to fish this on a particular kind of water or not, or fish a compare-dun instead?
I don't have any good reason, no.
Okay.
Other than you can see it better, yes.
It's a good visible fly, yeah. And I don't know if I've ever tied it big like a Western green drake or something like that, or a brown drake back here.
Yeah, you could do that. I've when I fished the Mount Vernon Creek in this hatch, if you've been on some section of it, it has a lot of bends. And they're 90-degree and almost 180 sometimes degree bends. They go back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And I've literally floated these things around the bend and picked up fish just by the sound when they hit it, because those fish are really very spooky there. And
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
So.
Well, these are,
Follow up on that other question, the question of whether this compares to a Comparadun or not. How does it compare to a typical parachute, like on a Parachute Adams? I mean, it's just the way the hackle fibers are arrayed, rather they're horizontal or vertical.
rides, this one rides a little higher. So you got the little tips of the hackle making their impression on the water, and you don't have that on a parachute. They're splayed out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder if fishing in a place with a little more riffly water, oftentimes you find these in the tail out of a riffle. So the water is bent riffly and they emerge in the riffle, and then they come out just below it and the fish line up there to take them. So this will float nice.
Yeah. And
So I was thinking about tying either Cahill's or even Adams using this method.
Yeah.
Probably work fine.
And blueing olives.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed since I moved to Viroqua was very less prevalent sulfur hatches. When you get them, the end of May, great, but a lot of years when they're very sporadic, which is too bad because it's such a great hatch.
Is this, when was the last time you saw a Hendrickson hatch, Duke?
I usually think of those as May 1st, and they're also very sporadic. And here, farther north, there are better ones up toward Eau Claire and the Namakogan and the Brule. They have a lot better Hendricksons. There's a Hendrickson hatch over in Minnesota, west of Winona, that comes off at that time, and that can be pretty dandy. It's really odd. And I hear friends in Iowa talking about a light Hendrickson, and I don't know what that looks like on the water, but it's about the same time, around the 1st of May. But a lot of old timers are bemoaning the absence of a lot of caddis, and I think that the presence of caddis or cranefly and caddis so widely around here suggests that mayflies that were less tolerant of degraded situations are having a tough time, and it may be nicotinoids, the farm chemicals. One of the other interesting sulfur things is over in western Wisconsin on the Rush and the Kinney, there's a sulfur, and it's a subvaria, not invaria or Dorothea like we're used to fishing. They're bigger and smaller sulfurs, like a 14 and a 16 or a 16 and an 18, depending on the stream around here. But up there, they have another sulfur. It's, I think, a subvaria. Cripe. It used to have the same name as one of the judges in St. Croix County, whose name I can't remember. But it's funny because when I first moved to western Wisconsin, I was fishing a sulfur that was yellow with dun, wing, and hackle, and there'd be fish working all around me on the Rush, and I couldn't figure it out. And finally, about the third night, I looked at my waders and I had all these flies on it that were the size of the sulfurs, but they were kind of a Granny Smith apple colored body, and Ginger hackle, and wings. And that's this subvaria, whatever it is that's up there. And once I started to tie a parachute like that, you know, they were way easier to catch. And also, Meg, if you tied an olive wet or a flint with a ginger hackle, that was also really good, like a grouse and green sort of. I'll come up with the name of that fly about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll call Jerry.
Thank you. I really will appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
And Jerry will wake up and start tying it.
I'll get up and start getting them out of there, yeah. The color is really important in sulfurs, I found, and I ran into that in Pennsylvania with a friend, and we were on a private stream and a club water, and he and I were both fishing a tremendous hatch, and it was coming off, fish were coming up, and I had a color that was just a little different than his, and I was taking him 2 to 1, and it wasn't skill. He was a very skilled fisherman, still is, but he was taking the fish less frequently than I was, and he finally said, "What color is that fly?" And I gave him one, and he started picking them up left and right. And it was just a subtle difference in color. So the body color really matters. And Duke, you've just given us an example of it too. So what I did here was I put my hackle on, and then I wound my dubbing over, like you saw in one of the videos, which I really liked. That was an idea that I'd never done before. I usually put it on after. So I'm going to bring this forward a little bit, and then I'm going to get rid of my excess dubbing without hopefully cutting my thread, because this thread's miserable. And I don't know how many of you have ever read What the Trout Said and That Is Proper, but I'm going to show you how he says to wind a hackle if you want to have the bottom of the, get my fingers, so the legs are splayed underneath, which is what this fly calls for, but he does it in a very neat series of hackle winding. It's in the, don't lose that hackle. One wrap to the back. Now we're going to go underneath the post to the front, 2 wraps. And then we're going to crisscross back underneath, which compresses what you got and what you just put under there. And then a wrap to the back. And now I'm going to bring it right back up front to finish. Cap. Oh, I think I saved that. With my, I'm going to have to capture some fibers because my feather broke. But I think I can save this. And I'll turn this around, maybe, and I'll have to take it out and show you. The underneath, you're not going to see too much here, too well here with these fibers, but the underneath is splayed nicely in it to the side. So I'll comb it that way just to show you.
Don't even have to trim it then.
Pretty good.
And so it makes it sit up without having to come in and trim out. Now with the Vis-A-Dunn, they say just to come in and cut the whole bottom out. And I'm going to do that. But I wanted to show you that trick because on flies that you don't want the whole bottom taken out of, the whole bottom hackle fibers, it really makes a fly sit up nicely and looking more natural. And trimming this out, I'm going to trim it. What I normally do is I have a post, I'll bring it back over the back and cut it right at the bend of the hook to get the right height for the wing. Generally, that works. Let's see what happens when I do this. Oh, that's good. That wipes everything out. So let's see if I can try to do something here. Focus in a minute. I got my old card here.
That's kind of neat.
We'll put that fly back in if I can.
So these are ephemerella, subvaria, and invaria. And the St. Croix County judge was Scott Needham. And so the fly up there is ephemerella Needhemi. So I don't have to call you, Jerry.
Oh, what?
How I felt.
I don't think so. I'm sitting in front of Ann Miller's book here. I can look this thing up, but you got it. It sounds like it.
Yeah, there's a retired entomology prof from River Falls who wrote a book about the kinnikinick. That's called In the Kinnikinick, Stories of a River and Its Insect Life. And for a biologist, he's a very passionate writer about rivers. And but he also spent 20 years studying the bug life on the Kinney. And so it's kind of like a double treat to read his stuff. Clark Gary, Garry, In the Kinnikinick.
That sounds like an excellent read.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's a little more focused on one stream than Ann Miller's book.
Yes.
But it's kind of fun to do that. And there aren't very many of them in the Midwest that are that quality.
No, that's a good stream. It is certainly.
Well, by the way, the Kayaptoish chapter says they're eager to host you guys if you want to come up on a fact-finding and survey mission. So
that might be fun.
Oh yeah.
In the summertime? Or
Well,
anytime?
preferably. Well, I just talked to a guy this afternoon who was out Sunday, and his buddy caught a 22-incher in the lower river, so he's pretty stoked.
Whoa.
But it was a brown trout. So it's don't get that excited.
22 inches, that doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just tying this with the microfibbits here. Better known as paintbrushes. And
Are you seriously buying paintbrushes, Jerry?
Oh, I'm definitely serious.
I do it all the time.
Do you?
Sure.
You go to Menards, you get the wooden handled ones,
Yeah.
get the small ones, the finest hair you can find. I don't know what they cost, maybe $1 if that.
Really?
Got a lifetime supplies. If you want bigger ones, just get a bigger paintbrush.
I'd rather spend my money on that than a mop.
Yeah,
I suppose there's room for more than one opinion on that, huh?
You want the nylon ones for sure. You want to make sure they're nylon, but
I think the cheap ones with the horsehair work really good.
Okay.
You gotta watch some of them have exploded tips on them to make them hold
Yeah.
more paint.
But you
So
got a
you have-
whole paintbrush full, so you usually can find a couple thousand.
For a buck.
Yeah.
That sounds like you can amortize that over time.
And I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna take my thread between and underneath. Whoa, maybe, there we go. And if I do that, I can get the tails to split. So that makes it even more stable on the water surface. So if you're finishing fast water or choppy water, it works out nicely. So it's a maneuver. You come up in between and wrap over. I'm not going to do it again. I don't want to. Takes a little bit of practice because the first time you do it too hard and it goes to heck. But this works. So back up to the front. Let's put out some Zelon here. Pinch wrap it, hold it. You can dam it up in the front. Come back over it, start wrapping back down.
So you've cocked your tail.
What's that?
You've cocked your tail. The English tires call it cocking it.
Cocking, huh?
Like a trigger.
Olak would understand that. Bob Olak would understand that. He ties all the English flies.
Well, Meg, have you got a pure fly box of wets and flimps now?
Not really, not that. We
Okay.
we are meeting, Bob Olak and a very small group of us are still meeting. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
I've
We
been
had
doing-
one.
I've been marrying salmon wings actually this last couple of days, so they're so pretty. You want to
They're
see
just-
them?
Oh, sure. Well, you posting them and getting them critiqued by Bob Blumrick.
Yeah, these are I just made these though. So
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
I owe a
Wow.
couple of people a gift or two, so I'm trying to catch up. This is my favorite fly. It's called a Gary snowfly. And the body is as beautiful as the wing,
Hmm.
but they take time.
Peter, you're not tying with us tonight. You're watching. Have you got your flies all tied up?
Yeah, I tied up the black messes while you're watching, but I did my guys on the earlier, the Vis-A-Dunns here.
Oh, yeah. You're having a black Russian in honor of Putin's invasion? Is that it?
No.
Oh, Jerry.
Gary, geez.
I
We
don't know
got
if
a
you can see
comment
that.
here. We gotta watch him. Look at what we're saying.
Vis-A-Dunn black or gray better.
St. Peter's Lithuanian, so you better watch it.
Yeah, they're right next door to all of that good stuff. How'd you know that?
Your last name, my wife's name is Mitkevichus.
Oh,
Maiden name was
was that Misevicius or Mikevicius?
Mitzkevichus, Mickeyvicis.
Okay. Because we had a family that my grandmother was really friendly with called Misevicius. Very, very close.
Yeah, no, she was born in the DP camps.
No. Well, all four of my grandparents came from Lithuania, so that was interesting. I was doing some ancestry the last couple of weeks with some other relatives, and man, I got relatives I never knew about, but I knew some that were still in Lithuania and they didn't know about them, so they learned and I learned.
Have you been there? Have you visited?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Mhm.
We went over in 2011 and got to tour. We spent 10 days going back where, where the family lived and all the history there. Met a few of the relatives that did not get out before the war or during the war, I should say. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Beautiful country.
Yeah, I've been watching on some of those videos that Orvis has, and they sometimes have shots of fishing in Lithuania. It's look pretty neat.
Yeah.
So one of my second cousins who we were doing this ancestry business with, he's going in August, I think, and I gave him the address of my grandfather's brother, who was actually his grandfather's brother too. And of course, he's probably dead by now, but he's going to go and knock on a door and see who's there.
Thanks.
We finally, her family finally got a settlement out of the deal because their house in Klaipeda was taken over by the Russians.
Oh.
And of course, whenever it fell apart, then now a hotel came in and built a hotel on the property. So they didn't get much for it, but they got a few bucks.
Okay.
But one of the interesting stories is that my grandparents came over right around the turn of the century, still under the Tsar at that time.
Yeah.
And then after World War I, Lithuania became independent. And it turns out lots of the kids went back to Lithuania to resettle back there. Their parents stayed in the US. Well, my mother didn't go back. She stayed. But she became the executor of the parents' wills after they passed away. And one of her jobs was to try to get as much back into the people in Lithuania as possible. And that caused all sorts of grief, working with the Russians, working against the Russians.
I bet.
Because you had to buy in a Russian store in New York, you had to ship on Russian carriers and everything else like this. You couldn't send them money, although they did things like change the buttons to solid gold buttons on clothes and stuff like this.
Yeah. We sent Maria's parents back for their 75th, or excuse me, their 50th anniversary back in 78. And they went over with 4 suitcases full of clothes, CDs, things like that.
Yeah.
And when they came back, they had nothing. They left everything behind.
Yeah.
Because the people over there had nothing and they could sell it on the black market, like Levi's, that we bought for 20 bucks here. We're going for the equivalent of 75 over there.
Did they, oh, okay, this was still in the 70s, so it was still part of the Soviet Union at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Did the Soviets allow the people in Lithuania to get the goods, or did they somehow confiscate half of it?
Well, as they went through, every time they went through a customs group, they had to search, and somebody would take a couple things out, like CDs, or back then these were the tapes back in those days on a thing. They'd take women's lingerie and stuff like that. They'd figure out what size their wife was or their girlfriend, and they had to confiscate those as contraband. But they got about 3/4 of it over there. Okay, and then well, they were required to stay in the hotel. And as my niece once told me, that whenever the students used to go over there, the biggest game was to find the bugs. Because there was one hotel in Vilnius, and they had all of them wired, and some of them even had cameras.
Unfortunately, not much has changed in all this time. They've become more sophisticated, but they're still the same.
Well, you see, we saw Kaliningrad, and that's the scariest thing I've ever seen. You know, you're out there and on it's a peninsula, and it sits at the end of the peninsula. And my God, is that ever scary whenever you see that, you know, that big, huge, it looks like an old fort, you know, I mean, it's a big concrete wall out there. You know, there's nothing but grass, you know, for 500 yards all the way around it, you know, the border there.
Yep.
And it just, people will drive, the truckers drive 300 miles out of the way rather than go through there, you know, to haul stuff.
Nice stuff. Nice place. How are you guys doing? CJ, I don't see a fly in your vise. You got it all done? Show me one.
Okay, I'm going to show it to you now what I did. I didn't have any of that other stuff. I had to come. Got to, it's the best I could do. I didn't have that neon, that yarn. I didn't put the tails in. You see it?
Oh,
Hey, let me,
yeah. Let's
I
see.
tried one of these as a parachute, you know, the earlier one like that. I'm not real sure. Since we cut all this off in the bottom, why this is just an old fly and they didn't convert it to a parachute?
You know, this is the Vis-A-Dunn, I think, help me out, Joe.
it's Vince Marinero tied. Vince Marinero from Pennsylvania tied thorax ties in the 60s. And they're almost exactly alike, except for maybe the material that's in the wing, which I think John Barr is probably selling through his company. But you know, it's got a nice float. And I think if you're going to carry Dunns for these mayflies, you might as well have a few thorax that are trimmed out on the bottom, and a few parachutes, and a few. In my case, I like to tie comparadunns. So if you have each of those, you're probably going to have one that's going to appeal to the most fussy fish. You just don't know which one it's going to be. And the nice thing about a comparadun is you can tie a shuck on it like a sparkle dun with Zealon or poly, and that gives you a shuck, and that never hurts in the course of trying to fool a fushy fish.
Yeah.
I know which one always works. It's the Swisher Richards no hackle with the duck wings coming out. My problem is I can't tie them, but if I buy them, they work really fantastic.
You know, the other hassle with those is even if you learn to tie them, they're not very durable.
Right. Yeah.
You know, with
one or two fish and you're done.
Yep. Those are a good thing to make your hair pull out or make you pull your hair out as a fly tire.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're a beautiful fly.
I mean, I was listening to Rosenbauer's podcast this morning, and that he put up, and one of the questions is, what fly scares you in terms of tying? And I was thinking, that's the fly, man. So Jerry, put that on for next year. Show us how to tie it.
What's that? Put on which one?
No hackle.
Swisher Richards no hackle rise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's a little cruel.
Yes. Oh, let me see. Let me go get one. No, I watched Mike Lawson up at the icebreaker that they had tying one of those live. And if you've ever seen the man and seen his fingers, how big they are, and he tied it so easily and so beautifully. It was just like, how did he do that?
Yeah, Umpqua has one of his videos on it trying those things, and I haven't got my guts up to try it yet.
Yeah, I don't even attempt it. I tried it and I said, you know, it's not worth it. I can't do it, and it's just frustrating as heck.
But a blueing olive in that style is just deadly, man.
Yeah. There's an expanding channel chapter that I'm filing under Life's Too Short.
That's right. That's good. Yeah, I think Joe Savota, isn't this a Craig Matthews fly? This Vis-A-Dunn, didn't he develop it? Does anybody know?
What's that?
Bars-
Craig Matthews, isn't he the guy that came up with the Vis-A-Dunn?
No, that's John Barr.
Yeah,
It's Barr?
I
Okay.
think.
yeah, Bar's
Okay.
got a good
Probably,
video.
I was
He's
thinking-
got it. Well, he's got a good book.
Okay.
Was
I
that,
was-
is that in bar flies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think so.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Barflies. I forgot where I got it, but for some reason I got Matthews in my
Yeah.
head.
Matthews did the compare done, and then of course the
Sparkle done.
sparkle
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
Right.
Sparkle Down, maybe that's what he's talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, the Comparadons, we tied those a few years back, and I don't want to do that again. It made me embarrassing, how mine looked. It was pretty bad.
My favorite thorax kind of done kind of fly is that breadline emerger. That thing, it crushes. You ever
What
take
is
it? It's
that?
not that different from what you just tied though. But it's a great fly.
What's that one, Matt?
Breadline emerger, they call it.
Oh, oh.
You got picky fish, it will make it happen.
Really?
Yeah, check it. It's not that different from this fly, but it has a quill body. So
Oh, there I can
Oh,
get this.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I got rid of the picture and I can see everybody again.
Well, hi, Jerry.
How you guys all doing? Let's see, everybody's tied out. Okay, good. Nobody's working anymore.
I'm just finishing up.
Yeah. Jack, by the way, there's a thing here that comes in on the emails. It's the Barrington Hills. And it's like the local gossip thing or something that I don't know what they call it. But we got it, and it's just funny to read for the headlines sometimes. I don't really get into them, but does anybody know where I can get a house painter? That kind of thing. Well, today it came in and said, well, Jack just died. And I went,
Oh,
oh, I thought of you. And I thought, somebody send me a message. And then I said, no, it wasn't you. Thank God. I got the name. It just scared me. I thought somebody sent me an email and said Jack died. Oh my God, he's too young. So I'm glad to see your face, Jack. Smiling face too. Yeah. Well, what are we going to tie next week? Something hard, I hope.
Tungstone.
Hard. It's the tungstone in golden stonefly colors we're going to use. That's a Charlie Craven job. And the meat whistle.
Meat whistle.
Yeah, it's going to be. This is heavy duty stuff next week, and that's literally. They're going to be two heavy flies. So, I don't see Bob O still on. He must have gone. He would be happy. They were going to tie something really big. He can see. So next week, it's those two, and I think that you'll find that there's a heck of a lot of stuff in that 16 package. It's pretty big stuff. So you won't have any trouble finding it. It's a good fly, and for salmon, maybe Scotty, you want to look at this fly for salmon a little bit. Think about it. But they use it for bass. He uses it a lot for bass, and does a crayfish like look with it, and does some bouncing with it. So that's up for next time, and that's about all for tonight. So anybody have any other things coming up? Tomorrow is the symposium first day, and then March 3rd is the second one. And if you haven't signed up for the first one, you can still do it. And for sure, the 3rd of March, they're going to be again, and you can find that in the newsletter, a place to sign up, and it doesn't cost a cent.
yeah. Jerry, if you're looking,
Always good. Go
Jerry,
ahead,
if you're looking for a fly that is easy to tie, imitates a crayfish, and is real flexible. Look for Frick's Quick Fix. And Rick Frick was one of the tires in actually Rich Frick, who is the father of Rick Frick, was one of the tires in Laughing Trout up in the Twin Cities. And Rick developed Rick Frick's Quick Fix. And it's a great little crayfish fly. And it's quick and easy, and they're so easy to tie that you don't mind losing them. So poke around a little bit. They're used a lot in Southeast Minnesota by subsurface anglers in the know. So Frick's Quick Fix, Frick. So poke around and you'll find it. I've only got one left. I'm hoarding it like I'm hoarding my roadkill skunk until I get my guinea fall feathers in, which I ordered today.
Oh, good. I hope you got some big ones. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't have to mark.
Jerry,
So I don't have to mooch them.
Luck of the draw when you
Our
get
first
those.
session last year, remember the guy came on and gave us the recipe for that Frick's Fix on the thing. And it is a good thing. I used it up last March on one of the deals up there, and the thing just didn't murder them.
Yep, it's a good fly. It's almost as good as a roadkill skunk.
This is the ugliest fly, but it's fun.
That's saying a lot.
Great
Yeah.
fly, Meg.
Oh, yeah, it's fun too. It was a fun time.
Well,
I used the microfibettes on that second fly and they were much better. I happen to have a package of them, so. The one we were tying tonight, I found some microfibettes, are much better. Bibbits or whatever they call them.
Okay. I'm gonna run. It's good to see you all. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good dude, take
Hey,
care.
good night all. I'm gonna run too.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so long.
See y'all, take care. Jerry,
Hi, Chris.
hey, Jerry, hang in.
What?
Hang on for a second.
Okay.
That's
I
what
just
it
want to
looks
let you know
like.
I got those flies today.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the one Dick was talking about. That Frick's Fix.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a sweet little thing. It goes upside down with the bead head, the dumbbell head on there like that. And it's got about everything you could want in a fly. This one here, it appears white, but that is it's olive marabou in the back, and then it's got the sparkle flash and the rubber legs and all that. So, but I just popped that thing along like that last March, and they were hitting it like there wasn't any doubt if you had a taker.
That's good.
So anyway, Jerry, thanks for sending those micey shrimp to me.
Oh, you're welcome. You got them? Great.
Yeah, I got them today. I'll have to get a chance to get out there and go up to the blue and try them. When there's not 3 feet of snow on the ground.
And the blue?
Yeah, they're getting blasted today.
I thought they might. I hope Anson was out in Park City with Dalton on spring break, and I hope they got back in time before they got all that snow. I'll have to give a call there.
They were getting up to 3 feet down in Telluride.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. 1 to 2 feet in Aspen, Copper Mountain, Breckenridge. So hopefully they got back in time.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's good. And that means water for summer.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
we
That's
need.
what I'm hoping for. So did you guys decide on what day you're gonna have that meeting or what?
Yeah, I decided that'll Jerry and Bob, I'm going to do it on the 3rd of March.
Okay.
That's what it's gonna be. Okay.
All right, good, because
I'm gonna send an email out right after I get done with this. I just. been busy
yeah,
getting
Jeff
ready.
is given, Jeff Hastings is given that presentation on the day, on the 2nd to West Denver. So I want to be at that meeting.
Say that again, Bob.
I said Jeff Hastings is going to give that presentation on the driftless at the West Denver chapter.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
2nd.
yeah.
That's why I can't make it at the
So you
second.
want to be there? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and then we hopefully get the guys all lined up for coming out here. to
Yeah.
Decide, because Ralph's getting worried, I'm sure, about.
Yeah, I know he is. He sent me another email.
Yeah,
And I
Okay.
want to pin everybody down to, going online and getting their checks out to him.
yeah, yeah.
So-
It's going to have to come to Al, and
Yeah.
Al's on vacation, so
Right.
I don't know how he's going to figure out how many people are going to be there. But probably if you can gather up the number of people, that'll be good to help him out.
Yeah.
To let him know, because he won't be able to know through Al. Al's on the road for like 2 or 3 weeks on the vacation.
Oh, where's he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Huh?
Is Al in
He's-
Colorado?
He's going to New Mexico and several different southern western states. I don't know what all he's going to do. Arizona,
okay.
New Mexico, maybe Utah. He doesn't have a plan. He's just going to go where
Just
they
gonna
want to
wing it.
go. When he gets there, he'll know where he's going.
Sounds
I
good.
talked to him today, and he's going to try to make the meeting. So
Okay.
on Thursday. So
We'll
that'll
see
work
y'all.
out.
Bye.
All right. Jerry,
Jerry.
take care. Hey, Jerry, thanks for sending me that info on the beads.
Oh, you bet. It's a good place.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, guys, take care.
Okay. Take care. Good night, John.
Good night, all.
Good night, John.
Okay.